Steeler fans, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, I have some possible draft day trades. When you talk about the 2022 NFL Draft, one of the teams that's been linked to a lot of the, we'll say, quarterbacks, or even a team that's been linked to potentially moving up or going down, has been the Pittsburgh Steelers. And before I show you my three crazy trade ideas, pretty sure producer Jeremy's just trying to get me going. What's the word of the day? The word of the day here is Worcestershire. So what I want to know is, how do you say it? And I've said it like 6 different times. One of the things Jeremy said, it's the wash your sister sauce. But I've heard Worcestershire, I've heard Worcestershire, and now I've heard wash your sister sauce. But that's going to be word of the day, and I want you guys to count how many times I attempt to say Worcestershire on today's show. So when you look at the 2022 NFL draft picks for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got number 20 overall, then you got round 2, 52 overall, round 3, 84, round 4, 138, no picks in round 5, 1 pick in round 6, and then 2 picks in round 7. The first trade that I'm going to be coming up with here is going to be trading up for a quarterback, and it's kind of funny because at pick number 20, a lot of times when you do a show like this, it's important to not only give the idea of, okay, what quarterbacks could Pittsburgh go out and get, but also how much is it going to cost? And we have a really good template because if you go back and look at last season with Justin Fields where the Bears had to go up and trade from 20, you can kind of see in that ballpark. However, it's not easy to go ahead and trade up because it costs a lot of draft capital. But in the top 10 right now, some of the teams that I really seeing, we'll say, has a potential shot to go up and get, when you look at it from top to bottom, maybe you can go up as high as the number 3 with the Houston Texans. Who knows? Maybe number 5 with the New York Giants could be available. Number 6 for Carolina. Number 8 for Atlanta. I mean, there's definitely a few spots to go ahead and do. We're going to get ballsy here, and we're going to really just let them hang out all on the table. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they go ahead and get the number 3 overall pick, and then the 6th overall pick from Houston. What does Houston get? The 2022 first, so 20th overall, a 2023 first-round picks, a 2023 second-round pick, and then the 84th overall pick. So what we decided to do is put all of these in the NFL trade machine. So if you think that we're crazy, well, again, we tried to weigh out all the options. Now, if you're going to go up this far, you better have your mind set on a quarterback, and I believe it's either Kenny Pickett or I believe it could be Malik Willis. It's really a matter of which QB do you think fits your system the most. If you want to go with somebody who I'll say is a little bit safer, maybe you're looking for I'm going to use a baseball analogy, a 300 hitter. I'm going to go with Kenny Pickett, who I could see him stepping in, being a competent starter, somebody who you could throw into an offense and be a game manager, maybe like an Alex Smith, even somebody, like Mitch Trubisky could be an interesting option. However, if you're going to swing for the fences, which that's what I would do if you're going to give up all that picks for the number 3 overall pick, I'm going to go with a guy like Malik Willis. Malik Willis is going to put butts in seats. He's athletic. He's got the arm talent. And for a division that's got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Deshaun Watson, I really, truly think if you want to be able to compete, you got to go out and get a star-studded quarterback, and that is Malik Willis. So, guys, go ahead now and pick a quarterback to draft. If you had to pick one, would you pick Kenny Pickett, type KP, or would you go with Malik Willis, MW? I'm not really just trying to say at pick number 3 if you were to trade up. Let's just say both are on the board. KP for Pickett, MW for Malik Willis. Now, I do want you guys to make sure that you never miss a thing. Subscribe to get the best Steelers draft coverage on YouTube. And before you hit that sub button, I would imagine your subs are hopefully already turned on. Make sure you also turn on that notification bell. If you're wondering what it looks like, it literally looks like the bell that you see down there. You click on that bell, then you click all. So that way when we drop a video, you know that we're keeping you guys up to date. Let's go to the second trade here. And one of the best things that you need to be able to do if you're an NFL organization, especially on draft day, is be flexible. If you go into the draft saying, hey, we got to do this and this only, a lot of times you're going to find yourself either reaching on a player, doing a trade that you don't 100% want to do. If you can go into it and be like, I'll give a shout out to one of my buddies, be like water, where you are just flowing and wherever the draft takes you, that's what you do, That's what you need to be able to do, and that's what you're going to see here in some of these trades. So here's the second trade, and it's based off of a player that's high on the Steelers draft board, and then they end up sliding down a little bit. So Pittsburgh, they're going to do a little switcheroo with the Minnesota Vikings. They switch their first-round picks to number 12 and then number 20. The 2022 third-round pick, and then the Steelers, they get a 7th. The Vikings get a 2023 fourth-round pick. So one of the players that I could see, okay, if you're going to go ahead and do this, you got to solidify that offensive line. If we're going to talk about quarterbacks as much as we have here on the Steelers YouTube channel, you better know who the hell is going to be blocking for these guys. Now, Charles Cross is one of my favorite prospects, and out of the top 3 offensive linemen, Cross, Ike Ekwonu, and then Evan Neal from Alabama, I do think that Cross is the one that has the highest chance to end up sliding. Another prospect, it might not be the biggest need for Pittsburgh, but you know what? I love Kyle Hamilton. I have him as a top 5 overall prospect. I think he is a phenomenal player from top to bottom. It's just, some people might say, oh, he was a bad combine player. It's fine. He's a hell of a football player. Another receiver here, potentially you could trade up for, is Drake London. He's 6'5", though. He measured in at like 6'3", just a hair under 6'4", so he gave himself an extra inch, haven't we all? 88 catches last season, 7 touchdowns, over 1,000 receiving yards, coming off that ankle injury. But if you want to talk about the highest ceiling of a receiver, he reminds me of a better version of Chase Claypool, a receiver who was built a lot more like a tight end, has the athletic ability of a wide receiver. I would love for him and Mitch Trubisky to just join forces and try to compete here in this division. So pick one to trade up for. If there's another player out there, you're like, you know what, this guy does make a lot of sense, go ahead, let me know. Charles Cross, type CC. Kyle Hamilton, KH. Drake London, DL. With draft day, one of these players, who knows? One of these guys are going to be putting on one of these draft day hats, and if you're looking for the Steelers 2022 NFL draft hats, we got them. Chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat is the link. It's going to be available for y'all in the comments and in the description of today's video. So whether you want a curved brim, a flat bill, a fitted hat, we got you guys covered. So make sure you're repping your team, whether it's black and gold, black and yellow. I don't know. I know you guys are dedicated, so go ahead and get your Steelers draft hats. All right, so be honest with me, and this is before the third draft trade comes up. Would you rather trade up or would you rather trade down? And I'll say when it comes to a quarterback, I'm usually team trade up. But damn it, you better make sure that he's the guy and you better make sure he fits. And Pittsburgh, I think, has done a very good job. And I'll say good NFL franchises, I'm more okay with them trading up because they're going to do the right things to put their players in the right situations. If you're in a team that's in rebuild mode, then I would go ahead and type down. The third trade coming up here is going to be around moving back for some more picks. And let's just say that quarterback that you want went off the board. Let's say that player you were hoping slide didn't go there. Now you can either stay at pick 20, which I'm 100% okay with, or you can go back and fall back a little bit and try to get some extra draft capital to fill a few extra holes. So here's our trade back scenario. Let's say the Chicago Bears, who do not have a first-round pick, decide to come on up here. They go back to number 20, which is what they had last season. Then they get a sixth-round pick. The Steelers get the second, a third this year, and then you get a second-round pick in 2023. If you guys want to throw in your trade ideas as well, please go ahead and do so. I'd be down to see what you guys are thinking. Some players that you can look at in terms of later round draft prospects, if you will. You got Jalen Tolbert, who had 82 catches, 1,474 yards, 8 touchdowns. What about somebody like a cornerback, Roger McCreary? I like his physicality, and I think a lot of Steeler fans would like it as well. 49 tackles, 2 interceptions, 14 pass breakups. And then Kingsley Enagbare, that sounds like Worcestershire, 44 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble last season. And then Travis Jones is actually one of my favorite defensive tackle prospects for the Yukon Huskies. He's physical, he's athletic, he's a big boy, 6'4", 333 pounds, probably putting a lot of Worcestershire shots on whatever the hell that man's cooking. And speaking of cooking it up, Bryan Cook, 6'1", 210-pounder from Cincinnati, and 96 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 9 pass breakups. So here's your opportunity, because this is what this show is all about. It's about the interaction. Which trade would you want the Steelers to make out of all three that I showed you? Type 1 for the first one, type 2 for the second, type 3 for the third. If you want to create your own idea, I'll be looking.